The objective of this part of the session is to briefly introduce our PhD schools. Our next step will be giving the floor to the University of Po and Esprit de la Dour, with Sophie representing them.
So I'm saying a few words about our Center for Doctoral Studies here in Po. So this Center for Doctoral Studies gathered two different doctoral schools. One doctoral school of social sciences and humanities and another one of exact sciences and their application. I followed scrupulously the outline that you provide us, Anna. So I've answered to, and I tried to answer to all your questions and mention. So the access conditions is quite standard in France. That is, it is a master diploma or some equivalent diploma. The duration is classically 3 years for a full-time PhD, and for part-time PhD can be up to 6 years. What I mean by part-time is for people who have a job and do their PhD in parallel. At UPPA, the doctoral training is mandatory, and it should last for each PhD student should have 150 hours of training over the 3 years. And according to French legislation, these hours of training should cover some skill box, which are clearly defined by the legislation. And also, it is mandatory that each PhD student has a training to ethics and scientific integrity. As for the fields covered at UPPA, we have everything. So I didn't put everything on the slides, everything except from medicine. And so there was some questions about the guidance. So there is a main supervisor who is responsible for the PhD project, and there possibly can be a co-supervisor. There is an exception in the case when there is a partner from the socio-economic world, then it is possible to have co-supervisors. And these supervisors or co-supervisors should be full professors or what we call in France a research habilitation. If they do not fulfill with these requirements, then they should be authorized by our research council. Also, we have some PhD monitoring committees every year. And these monitoring committees are mandatory for re-registration. I mean, it is this committee who said, yes, okay, the PhD is going well, and so you can go on, or not. Well, usually they can go on, of course. And also, each PhD student must plan some his or her individual training in the first year, and it can be updated every year. There was also a question about funding. So according to French legislation, each PhD student who has a doctoral contract must have this amount of salary. So it is really a 3-year contract. It is not a scholarship. It is a contract, a job contract for 3 years. So for those who began in last September, here is the amount before taxes, and it's around 1,040 euros after taxes. And the amount of this salary will be upgraded in next September, and we hope that it will be still upgraded the year after. So this is for the students which have a doctoral contract. That is a 3-year contract with our university or with the French National Institute, this kind of thing. We also have some students who have no such contract, but who have scholarships. This can be, for instance, a scholarship coming from Campus France, from foreign embassy, these kind of things, from foreign countries. And then the minimal monthly amount at UPPA is 900 euros per month. If we have some international joint PhDs, then it is only for the time spent at UPPA. When they are outside, well, each university can have its own rule. Just to have an idea, so we have some doctoral contracts, as I said before, and there may be also some other 3-year contracts with private partners, for instance. And for the doctoral school of exact sciences and applications, where there are 300 PhD students, where we have 250 PhD students who have such a contract. So, and among that, we have about 30 private contracts. For the doctoral school of social sciences and humanities, there are less doctoral contracts because there are more PhD students who have a job beside their PhD studies. And also, you asked for details about the conditions for the defense. So publications are not required for the defense. In France, the defense is mandatory, which is not the case everywhere. For instance, in Australia, it is not mandatory, so I put it here so that I don't know whether it's the same for everybody, but in France it is mandatory. The authorization for the defense is based on 2 reports by independent and external reviewers, which should be full professor or with research habilitation, which are accredited by the doctoral school. And here are the details about the jury, which will have 4 to 8 members. Half of the jury should be from outside UPPA. The parity is recommended, but not mandatory. And okay. And so the presentation by the PhD candidate is around 3/4 of an hour, and there is no time limit for the question of the jury. Also, well, I said previously that there should be 150 hours doctoral training, but these training are not classes training. I mean, you can have the participation in some doctoral seminars. Also, we have some doctoral days jointly with UNITA, the University of Zaragoza, which can, and these can take part of these doctoral training. We have many events which can be taken into account into this doctoral training. And I think that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sophie, for again being quick in this short introduction. And as you will know, all the presentations will be available. So again, you can contact our UNITA offices if you want to go through them in a little bit of more detail.